folks. It's 5:30 p.m. here on Tuesday, August 26th. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works. We are here at City Hall at 401 North Morton Street. We have a quorum of the board present, and we have board member James Roach online on Zoom. There is a Zoom link on the agenda with a meeting ID and a passcode for anybody that needed to attend via Zoom. Does it look like we have any public on Zoom right now? No. Okay. As of right now, no public has joined via Zoom.
Can we do a quick sound check for James?
James, can we good? Thumbs up, James?
He said not getting any audio.
Oh.
And it's muted on the screen.
That would be why. Okay.
All right, James, how's that? A little better? All right. Okay. There's a Zoom link on the agenda with meeting ID and passcode. If someone from the public does join via Zoom, they can use the chat or raise hand function to offer public comment on the various items on the agenda tonight. And otherwise, we have a lengthy consent agenda and a pretty lengthy new business, so I'll turn it over to Board President Kyla Cox-Deckard.
Regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, August 26th of 2025. First up on our agenda, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
I have none.
Okay. All right, seeing none. Next, we have Title...
None from me.
Oh, thank you, James. Next, we have Title VI abatements, 1912 South Rogers Street.
Hello, Mike Arnold from Hand. This is a property that has excessive growth. We cited them on July 2nd, July 17th, July 25th, and July 30th, and have had no response, and the property has not been mowed. So we're asking permission to abate the property on a continuous basis.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? All right, seeing none. Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the abatement at 1912 South Rogers Street.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have Title VI abatements at 2225 South High Street.
Hi there, Rebecca Davis from Housing and Neighborhood Development, Neighborhood Compliance Officer. I'm requesting a continuous abatement at 2225 South High Street for overgrowth. I issued tickets on July 19th, July 28th, and the 1st of August. I have spoken with the homeowner. He was there when I delivered the last ticket. He said to go ahead with the abatement. He mentioned he might come to this meeting, but I'm not sure that he is present.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
If I may, real quick, Board President, this is the property at the northeast corner of High and the Winslow Roundabout. So this is a
That's
property
correct.
that's come to us many times over the past several years. There's just been no willingness by the homeowner to take any responsibility for this. Can I ask, as part of this abatement, can they do anything other than mow? Can they take care of the downed tree limbs and things like that? I know that's part of an issue that's kind of ongoing with the neighbors as well.
I think that might be tricky because, let's see, I feel like the piles of rubbish is a different citation.
Okay, what I think may happen, from what I could tell, what may happen is they're going to have to mow around a lot of them, so you may have tall grass growing up through the branches and such. So
I see.
just trying to work with the landscape company to see what they can do to.
Okay, yeah, I will communicate about that.
Very good. Any questions from the board? Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
And just confirming the property owner is not connected on Zoom?
No.
All right. Do we have a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the abatement at 2225 South High Street.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Now, on our agenda, we have petitions and remonstrances. This is an opportunity for anyone from the public to make a public comment about items not on the agenda this evening. If we have anyone who has joined us on Zoom, you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to let us know you'd like to make a public comment. If you are here in person and would like to make a comment about something not on our agenda, you may approach the microphone. All right, seeing none. Next up,
Kyla?
yep, sorry.
Yeah, before we move on, question for Adam about the abatements. At the work session, we heard a third abatement,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
and it's not on the agenda tonight. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so that property was mowed today and in compliance, so that came off the agenda.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have the consent agenda, and I'm going to try to get through this without making any mistakes. Let's see how we do. On the consent agenda this evening, we have the minutes for May 20th of 2025, the minutes for June 3rd, 2025, Resolution 2025-064, IU Homecoming Parade, Resolution 2025-065, Trades District Block Party, Resolution 2025-063, Una Mas Taco Truck, Resolution 2025-067, Weaver Smoke Eaters Barbecue, LLC. We have outdoor lighting service agreements with Duke Energy for West 2nd Street between South Adams Street and South Rogers Street, outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for West 4th Street between South Elm Street and South College Avenue, outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for West 7th Street between North Ritter Street and North Rogers Street, outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for West 8th Street between North Spring Street and North Waldron Street, outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for West 10th Street between North Adams Street and West Cottage Grove, outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy for West Kirkwood Avenue between North Adams Street and North Rogers Street, Addendum 2 to contract with Caramita for soil investigation at the B-Line, change order number 1 to contract with E&B Paving for North Walnut Street resurfacing, contract with Hollers Welding to repair the guardrail at Winslow and Henderson, contract with Precision Concrete for trip hazard elimination project. Ironic that I tripped over that. Contract with Cargill Inc. for de-icing salt. Change order number 2 to contract with Milestone Contractors LP for paving Kinzer Pike project and payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Do we have any public comments on any of the items within the consent agenda?
None on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting of August 26, 2025.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have new business. First, under new business is change order number 1 to contract with Kreider and Kreider for Hopewell West, South Jackson Street, and South Rogers Street contract.
Hello, this is Zach Rogers with Engineering. This project was awarded to Kreider & Kreider on July 1st, 2025. Due to soil testing requirements on Hopewell West site, this change order includes necessary items for stockpile soils for testing purposes in accordance with the soil management plan. This change order would add stockpile material, which would include stripping topsoil, transporting, and stockpiling all excavated soils in designated locations. Added silt fence and seed mix. And this would also add 14 calendar days to the contract time. This change order is for $153,444.70, and that would revised contract amount would be $1,840,763.55. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on this item? Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve change order number 1 to the contract with Kreider and Kreider for Hopewell West, South Jackson Street, and South Rogers Street contract.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have right-of-way closure request at West 2nd Street from South Morton Street to South Jackson Street for City of Bloomington Utilities.
Good evening, Kyle Ball, Engineering. So City of Bloomington Utilities is requesting road closures along with a short-term closure of the Beeline Trail with a detour on West 2nd Street as part of the West 2nd Street modernization project for utility relocations and upgrades. So this traffic control would be in place through the different phases between September 21st and October 17th of 2025. So just to run through each phase really quickly. So this is phase 3 because the previous 2 phases were completed, I believe, a month or so ago. So phase 3 would be the starting point for this, starting on the 21st of September. So this location is West 2nd Street and South Morton Street. So that will include the Beeline Trail crossing. And as James from CBU alluded to yesterday, this will be detoured via the sidewalks on that east side of the street there, north to south. So that'll be in place overnight to the 22nd of September. Then they move into phase 4, starting September 22nd, of course, through October 8th, with the location there being West 2nd between South Rogers and South Morton. That'll be in place, yes, until October 8th. Phase 5 would be the 8th through the 9th. So 2nd and Rogers intersection there. And then phase 6 would occur on the 9th, if not before then. They were really quick with those first 2 phases, so we're hoping with a little luck we could make sure that happens again, but no guarantees. So planning for the 9th to start that last phase. Happy to take any questions if there are any. James might be on the line, but I know he had to drop off some kiddos as well.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Under phase 6, there's no end date, but I assume since in your intro paragraph it says October 17th, that phase 6 would last from the 9th to the 17th?
Yes, that's correct. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem at all. And then the 2 overnight phases, phase 3 and phase 5, what are the approximate times?
I believe that was 8 p.m. to 6 a.m.,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
And for phase 4, that I am estimating will be very similar to a closure we had in one of the recent phases. I think it was that same block had been closed on 2nd Street. And I'm just curious if, well, maybe it was the block to the west. I'm looking at the map, just thinking about when it was closed before, it was primarily Kroger and Wendy's affected. So just checking that any of the locations affected by that closure, because it's a longer
Right,
regular
so this is on the
daytime
northern
closure,
side.
right?
Yeah, I'll ensure that those coordinations are happening.
Okay, yeah, just making sure that for any, whether it's, residential or business affected, that they are clear on what their access points will be, and any changes to that process.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
All right. Let's see. None. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the right-of-way closure request at West 2nd Street from South Morton Street to South Jackson Street for City of Bloomington Utilities.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have right-of-way closure for Bone Dry Roofing at 524 North College Avenue.
Hello, Zach Bell, Engineering. Bone Dry Roofing is requesting a 2-week closure of the easternmost lane of North College Avenue at 524 North College Avenue. This request is to accommodate an aerial lift for metal facial repair, overhead protection, and the associated traffic control will be in place beginning September 1st and lasting until September 14th. Bone Dry has submitted MOTs and has communicated with the adjacent buildings about the scope.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on this item?
I don't have a question unless there's any follow-up from what we were discussing yesterday during the work session about the timing of this and number 4 and then the convention center. But if that's all coordinated well, then I've got no questions.
Yep.
Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the right-of-way closure for Bone Dry Roofing at 524 North College Avenue.
Second?
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have right-of-way closure for CFC Properties at 205 North College Avenue.
Thank you. Zach Bell from Engineering. CFC's Properties is requesting a 2-week lane closure of the westernmost lane of North College Avenue for masonry work at 205 North College Avenue. This request is to accommodate a crane for masonry work. Overhead protection and the associated traffic control will be in place from October 6th to October 20th. Shane from CFC has supplied MOTs, and they're also coordinating with adjacent buildings. And this is the one that is closer in proximity to the current closure for the convention center.
All right, questions from the board on this item? Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
All right, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the right-of-way closure for CFC Properties at 205 North College Avenue.
Second?
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have a service agreement with Action Target for Bloomington Police Department Range.
Hello, I'm Myrick Williams with the Bloomington Police Department. This is a request for a service agreement with Action Target at our range on the south side of town at the training complex. This is a one-time visit by Action Target technicians to come in and do maintenance training for our firearms instructor staff and to conduct some minor repairs as well at this time. It is a one-time service agreement. It will be a one-day event for $1,400.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Any public comments?
None on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the service agreement with Action Target for Bloomington Police Department Range.
Second?
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have approve environmental deed restriction at West Fountain Drive and 8th Street.
Good evening, Chris Wheeler with City Legal. This is an environmental restrictive covenant, and it's for CBU, Utilities Department. We are asking for two things from the board this evening. First, to have the board approve the environmental restrictive covenant to be placed upon this parcel, this remnant parcel. And we would also ask for approval from the board to proceed with plans to install the bioretention facility on this remnant parcel. I will say this, though, you might see me coming back shortly to ask the board to transfer the property to CBU so that the Utilities Department can take their actions to the Utility Service Board as opposed to coming up here. We love coming and visiting, but you guys might rather do other things. So what we talked about yesterday in the work session is that we did an environmental study before we are required to do an environmental study on this property before putting in the bioretention pond. That environmental study has been completed, and one of the things that IDEM required was for us to place this environmental restrictive covenant on the property. It restricts use of the property. It prevents us from putting things like a kindergarten on this remnant property. It's too small for that, but we can't do it. We can't do daycares. We can't do residential property. It also requires us to provide notice to anybody that we might sell the property to. So if we do create a transfer from one department to the other, we might have to put that notice in the transfer that explains that there is this restrictive covenant on the property. And when we do transfers, we are required to let IDEM know that the transfer has occurred. Those are the highlights of the covenant. I'm happy to talk about more if you have questions. And anything else you might want to discuss regarding the environmental study itself, we do have the Director for Utilities, Catherine Zager, here tonight to try and answer those questions with you. So happy to take questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I have a question. If you could just briefly describe what the environmental issues are on the property, that'd be appreciated.
Yes. Sorry, I just want to make sure I have my documents. All right. So one of the elevated levels was, sorry, Catherine Zager, Utilities Director. One of the raised levels was lead and arsenic. Arsenic, Bloomington has a history of having elevated soil arsenic, but that was, again, detected here. And then additionally, there were some readings in the PFAS category. So those were the contaminants that were found, and we have a soil management plan that we intend to fully implement as part of this project.
Great, thank you.
I just have a process question. The way this is written is to approve the deed restriction. Do we need any additional language that we're approving the installation of a bioretention pond, or that's included in?
We're just asking for the authority or approval to move forward with our intentions to install that bioretention. So we'll have to come back with contracting and things like that. But we would like the authority to move forward with that. I didn't present any kind of a resolution or anything.
I don't know that we've ever, so we've got other rain gardens, and I don't know if we've had the board approve those as installations into the right-of-way or not. But we can look into that for the future if we need to. I don't know that you need to take any action on that tonight.
Okay.
It's not our property, so we wanted to make sure someone was telling us that it's okay to put things on your property. That's all.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it seems like if we review the item as it's written on the agenda and approve that, knowing that we're looking ahead to likely doing some sort of transfer, I think maybe, I don't know how long that process will take to draft the documentation, but that will probably take care of any of those questions.
Perfect.
Without creating any confusion or issues then.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? All right. Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the environmental deed restriction at West Fountain Drive and 8th Street.
Second.
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have addendum number 1 to contract with Infrastructure Management Services for asset management data collection.
So this is an addendum to our original contract for our field data collection sidewalk surface tester. So we, under the original contract, the amount of mileage was lower than expected after they did their roadway inventory. So this is to expand an additional 73 miles, and it will be a change in the amount of $23,475, and that would take the not to exceed amount to $250,891. Request your approval.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve addendum number 1 to the contract with Infrastructure Management Services for asset management data collection.
Second.
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have professional service agreement with Studio Access for providing conceptual design.
Yeah, so this is a professional services agreement with Studio Access to assist the Public Works Department in a conceptual design package for a Public Works Operations Center that we hope to one day be able to build for all of our Public Works divisions to be more co-located and centrally located. So this will be an agreement with Studio Access for that conceptual design. I want to be clear, this is not full architectural drawings, or this is conceptual design, so helping us with site design, some of the civil engineering, but it will not be fully architect drawings or anything like that. One of the other parts that they'll help us assist with in the ever-changing dynamic of municipal finance is to be looking at the different bonding strategies and partnership options and how you build these. So this is to kind of kick this off, and we ask for your approval of the professional services agreement in the amount not to exceed $55,000.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Thanks for that added clarification about the architecture, because I thought, well, this is a pretty low price.
Yeah,
I mean, for
they-
like a full set of plan, but it makes sense in that context that it's more of a pre-planning strategy
Yes.
document.
They do offer architectural services. It's not to say that we wouldn't choose them into the future, but at this point in time, this is more of the conceptual design and definitely not a fully architect. I don't know how to make that a verb. It will not include full architectural drawings.
All right, that sounds good. Any public comments on this item?
None on Zoom.
All right, seeing none. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the professional service agreement with Studio Access for providing conceptual design.
Second.
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. And now we have staff reports and other business. First up, we have the update on the citywide fiber project.
Hey, everybody. Kyle Ball, Engineering once again. So we have in the staff report a list of locations where repairs from the citywide fiber project are currently underway. Our intention is to bring these every 2 weeks for these 2-week permitted intervals very short-term closures to get these repairs made. The focus here is the core holes that are going to be in the asphalt of these various locations. So we have a few that have been completed. So this is the starting from a couple weeks ago, and then the current that was just issued yesterday. So we're looking forward to getting many more of these repairs completed in the next several weeks. They have case on the contract, and they're working very quickly to try to remediate as much as possible to get everything back in order.
All right, thank you.
When you mentioned short closures, are we talking like an hour or an 8-hour day or?
Usually a day or less.
A day or less.
If it's extending into that next day, so sometimes they have to excavate something. They should be plating that overnight, things like that. But there's going to be no open excavations or anything like that. If anyone sees anything like that, please let me know.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, then we have the Duke Energy proposed amendment update.
Yes, so Adam Wason, Public Works Director. This is just a kind of cover our bases with the board and for the State Board of Accounts. We enter into a lot of outdoor lighting service agreements with Duke Energy, and we often, and as part of our contracts with contractors and others, we have certain language in addendums that we require those contractors to adhere to. So with Duke Energy in particular and their regulation through the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, they state that they cannot enter into these types of addendums. And so basically with some email documentation that's included in the packet, the City Legal Department notified Duke that in order to proceed with future outdoor lighting service agreements for installations within the public right-of-way, the following conditions apply. We will continue to send the agreements through to the board without the addendum. However, a copy of Duke's original email noting compliance with E-Verify, non-collusion, and non-discrimination, and then that original email will be kept on file with each agreement in case we're audited by the State Board of Accounts, and would have that documentation and backup readily available. So just kind of making sure we're covering all of our bases on this one.
Yeah, okay. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and it's not an unusual circumstance for two large entities, a municipality and another large entity to have some adjustments for different reasons, different regulations, things like that. I think, what I was hearing yesterday was that the city is maybe not particularly clear on what it is within the IURC regulations that allows for Duke to say that they're either exempt or compliant, whichever position they're taking.
Hi, sorry, Audrey Brittingham, City Attorney. That's correct. That's the statement or the implication in their email. And I intend to ask that person if they want to connect me with their legal team, because I consulted with other attorneys in the department and we don't know of an exception, including Chris Wheeler, the utilities attorney, and he's also unaware of an exception that exists. And so I'm going to see if I can get them to send me something. And I also intend to attend their forum coming up, their public forum, and see if there are other public entities that have had similar issues and how they've addressed theirs as well.
Yeah, I think that would be great because presumably, given the footprint that Duke has, there are many municipalities that have very similar agreements and requirements that they would be navigating in the same way. And it seems like it should be, fairly clear on the Duke side exactly what it is that they're, putting forward on that. So I think that would be ideal to have for our own documentation. And then, perhaps when we have a regular conversation with the State Board of Accounts, it would be interesting to hear their perspective on that for the purposes of just making sure going forward we have exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that they are clear that Duke is complying with that when we're entering into those agreements. Perfect. All right, thank you. Any other staff reports and other business?
Did you ask me to mention something yesterday? and I forgot?
I was just curious about, and maybe Kyle knows, the Rogers Street, the impending closure on Rogers Street for that section, like near Switchyard Park.
Do we have any dates on that yet?
I know the sign's up, and it's warning everyone that the closure is imminent, and you can see the staging happening.
Yes.
And so I was just curious if, for the public and for me.
If I can be honest, I believe that closure was intended to happen much earlier in the summer. I'm not sure why it got pushed to where it is currently. I had forgotten about it until Parks reached out and asked about access to Switchyard. So they have the temporary traffic control plan in hand now for the entire staff. There's still going to be accessibility to everything throughout that corridor. That's as far as I.
To be determined as to exactly when they're going to do that.
We'll get
And I
follow-up,
can't
too.
remember what the length of time was going to be on the original work, but I am glad to hear you say that you believed it was going to happen earlier, because I also had a conversation with some people along that corridor, and I thought it would happen before this point. When I saw those signs, I thought, oh, we're just now we're heading into that closure.
Yes,
So
yes. I will say that there have been, when I did look up the permits to, refresh myself, there was a mention of 120 days, but there's lots of auxiliary work that's going to go into that. I don't think that closure is going to be in place for nearly that duration. But there's going to be some sidewalk closures along the former Catalent, now Novo Nordisk site. So it'll be, outside of that particular area.
yeah, and if I remember right, there was still going to be local access.
Correct.
For those organizations, and presumably Switchyard Park's got an arrangement so that people can get in and out of those
Yes.
spaces even during the closure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll wait and see. I'll send Adam a picture when it's closed.
Can't wait.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Nothing else.
All right. Next up is approval of claims. Any questions from the board on the claims? All right. Any public comments on claims?
None on Zoom.
All right. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve claims tonight in the amount of $1,286,383.78.
Second?
All right. I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. And seeing as there's nothing else on our agenda, I will call for adjournment.